Hey there, Will Rice with the Tips team, bringing you an extended professional learning opportunity. Today we're going to be spending about 20 minutes going over the top 10 items Google Workspace has added or modified in the last year or so. The first change in Google Workspace we're going to talk about is a change the division has made in how Drive files can be shared. When we need to share files with staff or students, it's important that we understand that how we share it can impact who can view it and also for how long. So if I were to go into a document such as this set of notes and I'd like to share it with a user, I can go ahead and highlight the document and click the share button. And what you'll notice is, as always, I can share with an individual person or group. But now when I come under general access, what's restricted, and that's just me, I now have a new option. I have the option to do restricted, just myself and those users I've added above on the people and groups line. Staff only, which means even if the link gets shared to a student, if they're not a staff member, they wouldn't be able to open it. EPS, which is all users with a Google account with the division. This would be useful for sharing with all the students in a school, but know that students at other schools could also see it. And finally, anyone with the link, which would allow anyone in the world, even with a personal Gmail account, to view that document. So in many cases, when we're sharing items with our school staff only is going to be the most important and probably most effective way to share, because even if another staff member saw it, it wouldn't be accessible to students. The other quick change is here under the settings here in the top right corner. I can go ahead and change whether editors, when I give editor access to other users, if they can change their permissions and I'll reshare, and whether even users can download or print. Lastly, if I share this here with another teacher, under the editing section, if I click the drop down arrow, I have some other options. I have always had viewer, commenter, and editor, but now I can even add an expiration to that document. So now this editor, Robert Goodwin, will lose access a month from today on November 15th. I can edit that to a later date or even remove that expiration at any time. It's a great way to not have to remember to remove access from someone in the future if I really only wanted them to be able to look at the document for a set period of time. Hopefully that'll help you there with sharing documents more effectively with staff, students, and individuals here in the division. Number 2 on our Google Workspace updates is some changes to presentation tools in Google Slides. So if I come up here and have a presentation and I want to put it in slideshow mode, I'm going to go ahead and do that now. You might be used to coming down here to the bottom left corner and advancing slides, seeing where you are. But under these 3 dots, we have a couple of great new features. One is the ability to turn on closed captioning. So I'll go ahead and turn that on now. And as you can see, as I'm showing this to my students in a class, they're able to see what I'm saying written in English at the top. Currently, this doesn't translate and is only available in English, but is a great way for students to be able to see what I'm saying, and maybe if they miss a word, they can read it at the top of the screen. Additionally, we have another new great tool that was added just a few weeks ago, and that's the ability to turn on the pen. Perhaps while I'm working in a slide deck, I want to highlight a section on my interactive board or at my desk. I can go ahead and do that using this pen tool. It is important to note that the pen tool is not persistent. That is, it doesn't mark up the slideshow itself. It's only there while you're in presentation mode. If I hit escape here to exit presentation mode, you'll notice that both the closed captioning and the writing disappear because they are only available in that presentation or slideshow mode. Heading over to number 3, we're going to talk about a couple of things that Google Docs has added in the last couple of years. In fact, these last ones are in the last few months. The first is an easier way to find a setting if you're looking for it in the toolbar. You might be used to heading to the toolbar or perhaps heading into the drop-downs above looking for a variety of tools. However, now we do have a search menu right here. So if I want to look for something such as page layout, I can go ahead and take a look here and see all the different settings that I might want to do for a page setup or layout, adding page numbers, and head directly to that place right in the settings. So I can see I didn't have to go find it and select it. I could just search for it and then directly access the tool. The second thing is the addition of smart chips. Now, smart chips can be added in a couple of ways. One way is under the insert menu, you'll see smart chips. or and drop downs there as well we'll talk about. The other thing though is you'll notice when you open a new blank document, you're provided with a couple of questions that might help you get started. For example, if you're about to take meeting notes for something that you've already planned, we can select meeting notes. It'll actually look in my calendar to look for a meeting with the people that were in the meeting and actually give me a templated set of notes, including all the attendees, the date, the team name, and all those sorts of things. It'll even remind you to share it with those users in case they don't have access to that file already. So that's a quick way to get started. You'll also notice here that if I go back out and I delete everything from my document, those again start at the top. We have email drafts. This is a great way to sort of work in Google Docs on drafting an email, and then it'll even let you move it right into the email you want to send. This is going to be a great tool not only for writing email drafts, but for teaching students how to write an email in a more familiar place other than the Gmail app directly. It gives you read and write and all those other tools as you're writing, and then lets you port it right over to Gmail by clicking this button. Lastly, the app More will let you look at a number of different things. You can add different people. You can add smart chips such as the date, setting drop-down menus, or a stopwatch or a timer. And for following further down, you'll see that meeting notes, email drafts, calendar event drafts, roadmaps, and even the ability to add custom building blocks like I did here with a stars and a wish. We won't go into this fully, but we do have another video on this topic. And if you are interested in sort of playing around with it, that's usually the best way to figure it out. I've actually heard of a lot of teachers that are adding the timer into a Google Doc for students, sort of to give them a recommended idea that, like, we're going to be doing this writing task. It should take you about 20 minutes. So the students can go ahead and actually have that timer built right into the document as they're working, and they can pause and reset it if they need to, but it certainly gives them an idea of a way to kind of follow along in that time, while they continue writing, in a document. Hopefully that inspires you to take a look at these smart chips and building blocks and drop downs and things like that, and see if they could help you in your own classroom or personal use. Next is a new classroom feature that might make sharing content with your peers and teachers in your school and other schools easier than ever. So lately you might have seen a pop-up at the top of the screen discussing how to share classwork in a more simplified way. What this means is that, if you've ever wanted to share a great assignment you've made, or perhaps some other content from your Google Classroom with another teacher at your school or in the division, you've had to add them as a co-teacher to your entire class, meaning that they could see your assignments and the student roster and other things like that. Now, there's a great new way to do that without having to go to all that trouble and giving them full access to everything in your classroom. If we go ahead here at the top of our classwork tab here in a Google Classroom that I've created and been using, I can click Share Classwork, and it will allow me to toggle on a link and provide this link directly to a teacher that I'd like to share with. They will get access to all of the classwork that I've created, but not the grades, comments, and student submissions from my students. This is still a really great way to share with teachers so that you don't have to worry about all that additional information. It even gives you the ability to preview that link to see what other teachers would see when you share it. In this case, it takes you to a view-only access, and you can see here that a teacher could go into the things you've put in here and go ahead and select them and copy them to their classwork. You see here I can't do that only because I already own these, they're already in this class, but another teacher would be able to select them, preview them, and then export them into their class. Hopefully that's a great way to collaborate with the teachers in your school and beyond even more effectively than before. Our next new feature in Google Workspace is also in Classroom, and it's been a feature that's been asked for many times over the last few years. When I create a new assignment, give it a title, maybe instructions and attachments, as always, I can come over here and assign it to multiple classrooms or individual students, provided a due date, let's say a week from today. Put it in a topic if I'd like to. What you will notice now is that if I pick a due date, it will give me a new selection directly below called Close Submissions After Due Date. What this means is that after the due date is passed, students will no longer be able to submit directly to the Google Classroom an assignment that will be marked late. In many cases, we've seen teachers have problems with students submitting, unsubmitting, submitting it after the due date and saying that they didn't, even if and trying to sort of sneak it in there. Or maybe teachers just want to talk to students who have late assignments coming in about why it was late and maybe to give them additional supports. This will block those submissions from being submitted, and they will simply be shown as not signed or not handed in until the teacher unchecks this or arranges a different way for the student to turn that assignment in. Hopefully, this lets you more completely control whether students can or cannot turn in late assignments into your Google Classroom assignments. And you don't have to use this for everyone. You can use it for some assignments and not others, and talk to the students about what it means if they can't turn them in late. Perhaps it's for, things where you really want to talk to them on that next school day before they do turn it in to determine what's going on. New features 6 and 7 are both Google Classroom features, and we're going to cover them here together because they are linked in sort of where they live in Google Classroom. Now, when creating a new assignment, you'll notice here that at the bottom of the screen under Attachments, we have two new attachment types, YouTube and Practice Sets. While YouTube has been here for a little while, let's dig into this and take a look at what might be new. So as usual, we can search for a Google YouTube video, or we can have a URL prepared to paste in there of the video we want to use. We can come in here though, perhaps, and find a video. Once we've selected a video, you'll notice that something has changed. Instead of just being able to add the video, we also have the ability to add questions. Mousing over lets us know this is a beta, so this may not look the same in the long haul and may go away, come back in a different feature set, or who knows, but this time it seems to be working really well. It allows us to go ahead and click this and add questions to this video as we work and scrub through the video. So as you can see here, I can go ahead and begin this video to play. I can scrub through the video to a particular place, and when I get there, I can click the Add button. This will let me add a multiple choice, checkbox, or open-ended question for students to interact with. When they watch the video at this point, at 2 minutes and 15 seconds, the video will pause, it will ask them the question, and then after they've answered and saved it, they can move on. What's even better here is that you can go ahead and preview this, try as a student, and see exactly what the students would see by clicking this button. So you can see here, they can see the start, there's a question here, finish, and as they play through, they take part in these. For multiple choice and checkboxes, you can even define the correct answers. Finally, when you're done with it, you can even review the answers that the students provided, whether they attempted them more than once as they completed, and look at reviews of the whole class to look at questions that the students may or may not have got correct. We have a comprehensive video on this in our collection, and I encourage you, if you're interested in this beta version of the YouTube video activities, to go ahead and take a look at that. Second is Practice Sets. Practice Sets is similar in that it will allow you to create an interactive set of questions for students that will allow them to work through some questions, give them a try, get some hints on any topic you like. What's a little different here is that you'll see by clicking that, it's taken me to a new section of Classroom called Practice Sets, where I have all my practice sets saved. Let's open one up here that I've created in the past. In this case, it's a single question. Question 1, atoms, particles, and ice are moving blank then in water. I've made a fill in the blank question. Faster, slower, or same speed. I can go ahead and edit this, and you can take a look at some of the other things. Here I've selected single select, which is multiple choice, but it could also be short answer, auto-graded, multi-select checkboxes, multi-graded, or even paragraphs. I can come down here, search for skills from the Google search engine that will allow me to look at hints. And under resources here, you'll notice here that I don't have any resources. By clicking add resource, I can provide them with a hint, a text hint to help them. I can link directly to a YouTube video here if I want to, or if I want the AI to help me with that, I can go ahead and select a skill. And you'll see here that it's looking through YouTube and it's finding me a suggested video to support. I'm going to go ahead and let you know that if you don't like what YouTube or Google Classroom is suggesting, you can remove them all and give no hints if you don't want the students to have hints. Or you can create your own by, again, typing in a hint in text, or selecting a YouTube video that you've already prepared. And that will allow the students to go ahead and complete that practice set question. For example, I'll select faster here and they can check it. It's going to give them a little animation about whether it's right or wrong. It might give them a hint. And what's interesting here as well, students even have a place that they can go ahead and draw directly on the card as well. So if they wanted to show their work, they could even go ahead and show the particles in the water and do their moving. So if you have touchscreen Chromebooks, this could be a great way to even do math in your classroom. Again, we have a comprehensive tutorial of this and welcome you to take a look at that in our YouTube playlist. Coming in at number 8 is a new addition to our Read and Write for Google Chrome family of tools from TextHelp. So for a long time, we've been looking for tools that will help our students, more independently consume content on the web. And the Read and Write toolbar has been a great tool for that, allowing students to access picture dictionary, listen to text being read aloud, all kinds of things. But they've added a really great new feature here in the last little while. And that is this tag right here. So if I come to a website such as Wikipedia, which might be written at a slightly too high of a level for my students, it could work on news sites, anywhere where there's text on the page. Students have always been able to look up words they don't know. But we've even had the text compactor, which would sort of simplify the page, but it doesn't change the content. What we have here is Rewordify. And Rewordify actually looks at the page, looks for words that students may have trouble understanding, and rewrites the page for them with some simplified words. So let's click this Rewordify and see what happens. You'll notice here that as I toggle it, something is changing on the page, and it's not always easy to notice, but a good example of this is right here in the first line. Anywhere that Rewordify changes something, it puts it in italics so that the student will know that it's been edited, and when they mouse over it, you'll notice now that a little question mark appears, right? So let's go ahead here and take a look. We see here this meat eating. If we go back, the word was carnivorous. You can see that right here, carnivorous. We click Rewordify, and now it says small meat eating. When I click on meat eating, it toggles it back and forth from the difficult word to the simplified meaning word. And if I mouse over, it even gives me the definition, carnivorous/meat eating. So it shows me, it's not ever hiding what it's done, which I really like about this tool. If we keep going through, we'll see your tamed, controlled. Let's click on that. Domesticated. Okay, yeah, that makes sense, right? It's domesticated. That means tamed or controlled. Okay, keep moving through here. We'll see your wild. What was wild? Feral. So feral and wild. So students can have a way to simplify the reading level potentially and help them make more meaning of the text they encounter on websites, but it also doesn't hide it and lets them easily toggle, various and different sort of synonyms and words that might help them more easily read this text. This is only available on the web, so we don't have this in Google Docs or slides for students to use. But on the web, it is a great way for students to more easily consume the content that they find. Hopefully this will let you and your students, more quickly and easily understand what you're finding as they do research. Coming in here at number 9, almost to the finish, is a new feature that Google has added both to Chrome OS on our Chromebooks and also to every Chrome browser, whether it's on a Windows or a Mac PC. We can go ahead and it's called live caption, and it's a great new feature that lets us add closed captioning to pretty much any video from anywhere. If we hit the three dots on the top right, head down to settings, search for live caption. So let's start with just the word live. And you'll notice that live caption is right here at the top. I'm going to toggle that on. What that's going to do, you can also see the preferences for that are here as well. What that's going to do now is if I come here and I'm just going to refresh this here real quick. Let's go ahead and open up any video. Maybe you have a video shared in Drive. And we know that Drive, for example, doesn't have closed captioning. It has the button, but it doesn't do anything because it's not like YouTube. It doesn't have that ability to do its own closed captioning. However, if I have that live captioning turned on, you'll see here right down here in the middle that the captioning will still come up. It's actually processing the audio coming to the computer and adding the captioning to a video that doesn't have captioning on its own. It's doing it locally on the machine. You can go ahead and pause that video. This can be moved around anywhere on the screen. It can be made a little bigger and a little smaller. You can even, like I said, go back into the settings and talk about the size and color of those things. It works on not just Drive, but anywhere on the web. For example, perhaps the closed captioning for this video here isn't working. If I hit play, we're going to see that captioning pop up anytime it hears audio being played in English through the computer. So just a really great way to add that functionality and accessibility to content that maybe doesn't have it on its own. Or you can't, sometimes you'll see closed captioning where when you click it, it just really is hard to read. It's too small. This will allow you to move and adjust the closed captioning to meet the needs of you or your students. Could be a great way when you have this, when you're showing a video in the class to, if it doesn't have closed captioning, now you can add it where you want it. So a really great new feature to support us, attend to those videos and audio, and do a better job of understanding the videos that we watch. Last but not least is a change that's come to Gmail and Sheets that allows you to create quick and easy mail merges without any third-party app. This can be a great way if you're running a club or you just want to mail it to your parents and you want that more customized mail merge without having to install or find a third-party app. So to do that, it's as easy as clicking the Compose button as always. We're going to go ahead and take a look here. And now in the to line, you'll notice beside CC, BCC, you'll see this little one, which is called Use Mail Merge. So let's give this a sample name. And we'll go ahead and go back up in here and click this. It's going to offer you you're going to say, yeah, I want a mail merge. And we're going to click Add from a spreadsheet. This spreadsheet will, you're going to want to link to something that has their first name, last name, email address. You really only need their email address. But for the power of this, we're going to want to use something that's formatted a little bit with some extra information. It's going to ask you, where's the email? That's the header from the sheet I'll show you in a sec. We're going to call this the first name, last name, and we have some other ones in here, but we're going to go ahead, we're going to click finish. And now we can see that it's going to this spreadsheet. It's got a name. The spreadsheet was as simple as just, I did this. Those @ symbols in the mail merge are just the headers of row 1 in the spreadsheet. First name, last name, email address, and school. What that means is when I'm in the email, if I start typing, dear, I'm going to click @ oh, look, now all those headers are right here. Dear first name. So now when it sends that email, it's going to say, dear Will, dear Bernice, dear Karen. It's going to create one for each. That's how mail merges work. Glad to see you at. And then here I could pick school if I know the school. Glad to see you at school. In this case here, for Will, it's going to say test school. For Bernice, it's going to say summer school. And it's going to substitute in an email, an individualized email for each of those people. When you go ahead and it's going to let you know you're using this. When you're done, you have a couple of options. When you click continue, notice the send button is not here. What it's going to do is going to ask us some options, help to avoid having your emails marked as spam. Just make sure you're not using this to the point where Google might flag you as spam. So if you're sending, the maximum 1,500 of these a day, all to the same people, it might get flagged. Likely won't happen if you're just using this for classroom use. I'm going to click got it. I have two options now. It's going to tell me I found 5 people in the spreadsheet. I can send them now, or I can send the preview. Sending the preview is going to shoot you an email. After you've checked that preview, you might choose to go ahead and then click Send All, and that is going to fire off that email to those 5 people. Note, if you're looking for these after you've sent them, each of them will be sent as a separate email that you can find in your sent email list. As always, hopefully these tips, tricks, and new features will help you get off to a good start using Workspace to its full effect for you in this classroom and in your day-to-day. If you have any questions or concerns, I suggest you check out our full YouTube playlist, which has more in-depth versions of all of these tutorials, or reach out to your tips person by checking tips.epsb.ca for your tips person assigned to your catchment area or more information.